Hey everyone, welcome to the Grind Together podcast. We're the Grinders. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Matt. And on this podcast, we want to create opportunities for growth through real conversation.
Let's go. Hey guys, what's up? We are back. And we have a sleeping baby next to us, so pray that she doesn't wake up, but she kind of already has.
She'll be okay.
She'll be okay.
So we just went through Thanksgiving. It was pretty fun.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. Yes, we did Thanksgiving. It was super fun. It was actually, I feel like, one of the best Thanksgivings we've had in a while. But I think that has a lot to do with the fact that we went through some shit in our own relationship a couple of days before that, which is never fun. But
which brings up our topic.
Yes.
Right? And before we jump into the topic, we are going to do our conversation cards.
Yes. So we started this new segment. These are our conversation cards. You can get them if you're watching. If you're not watching, then
It's my turn, though. I get to pick
Matt's
one.
going to pick first.
It's called Start the Conversation.
If you're not watching, you should watch. I feel like it's fun to watch us.
It is fun.
Not that I always forget we're recording, like our actual faces. And so sometimes I do weird things like will like scratch my head or like, I don't know. It's not really weird, but you're taking forever. Today, Junior.
I didn't want that one.
Oh my gosh, you're taking.
Okay. I got one. Are there any This one's mental and spiritual.
Okay.
Are there any dreams or aspirations that you've been contemplating lately?
Ooh. Truthfully, this is a dream for me. Our business and coaching has been something that for me has been a dream that kind of has come to fruition. Is that the right word?
Mm-hmm.
And it's been really hard, truthfully, but it's a dream that I'm so passionate about, and I'm so when it gets hard and I want to peace on it,
Mm-hmm.
I can't bring myself to do it because this journey has been really, 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 really hard for us. And it has not been easy, and it's been slow, and it's been a lot of learning curves and a lot of things that have come up that we weren't expecting. And for me, that dream has been one that I know is a dream and I know is a passion because I haven't been able to throw it to the side. And I do that a lot. Especially we talk a little bit about this, especially as a manifesting generator, it's I have a lot of different interests and things come to me, and I really am so passionate about creating emotional and intimate relationships within couples. And I'm it's hard to be no, I don't want to do that. But not only in couples, but in our own personal relationship. I truly am very passionate about our relationship and seeing, what there is to learn and, digging everything out of that. So yeah, I don't know. That's a dream, I guess.
I have a dream.
I have a dream.
I really want to run a group, and I want to do retreats this next year.
Yes, I was going to talk about that, but
I really, really want to do it.
You know what? Screw it. We should talk about it.
Well, the retreats aren't in the works yet. But we are definitely opening up a community for couples come January, and we are so stoked about it.
Yeah, I feel like that was something that you and I have dabbled in for years. We want to do a community, we want to do this, and then somehow we talk ourselves out of it.
But the reason is that we are seeing that there's just so many people that are coming to us that need community. Both you and I are parts of community.
Yeah.
And it has helped us so much. And within a community, then we can get the message that to the people that need it a lot more affordably and a lot quicker.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because we even went and saw Moana too. If you haven't seen it, it's a great movie. I know that there was some backlash on it, but that's all about bringing people together and creating and the cool part of in it is the vision at the beginning that she has. He's if you don't bring people together, this is what life looks like, and she's all by herself, and he's kind of this isn't how you want to live. And
That's
I'm
so true,
and when I saw that, I was oh my gosh, it's speaking to me, which I feel all Disney movies do, maybe because I'm a mom of 4, but I really felt like that. I was oh my gosh, no, I really feel that way. And even the analogy that we use with the mice and how you should tell that analogy because I'm going to screw it up.
Oh no, it's just when you have community, a mice will always choose regular water over drug water. But when there's no community, they'll choose a drug water because they want to feel better.
Yeah.
But when we have other people, it helps us, and so that's why we want to do this community. And it'll be cool. We'll have a lot of details out there for it, but stay tuned for that.
Wait, I'm gonna pull one for you really fast because I feel.
Well, no, I wanted to answer that. Oh, okay.
No, I'm glad that you did.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I see why this took you a minute. Oh, I'm gonna pull a black one.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, okay. Describe to me your perfect sexual encounter if you had it entirely your way.
Okay. No, that's fine. I guess I'll do it the quick and dirty version.
Okay, cool. We might have to get into this later.
This is the fun part about these cards though too, is that like they get down to very, very like intimate moments and you guys can talk about stuff that might make you uncomfortable, and that's a really cool thing. I love it when you like come out in lingerie. It's like one of my favorite things. So that would probably be the beginning of it. And we would definitely be alone, no kids in the room, in our own bedroom. Because if you know our situation, our kids sleep on our floor sometimes.
And it's not like we're having sex in front of them. We get creative.
We wouldn't get right to it. It would be like a little bit more of just like hanging out, but we would both be very much like almost naked.
We were just hanging out in lingerie.
Well, I mean, like either watching a movie or like talking or like connecting somehow. And I literally love that. Like, but
that gives me a lot to look at for myself and how uncomfortable that makes me.
But then yeah, just like however we want to connect after that. I could go a lot more into detail.
I know you could, and I know that you're kind of holding back, and that's okay,
because I do want to get to the topic of this podcast, okay. Right? Because I think it's very prevalent for people. And really, is it like we always ask the question to people that we sit across from, and the question is, do you think that you can make somebody else feel something? And
this
everyone's
is my least favorite question.
I know. And everyone's answer is, yes, of course I can make somebody feel something, and they can make me feel something.
Yeah.
Right. And so this episode is about self-reflection. And it's the hardest thing to do, but it's literally why we coach, because it was the thing that helped us the most throughout our entire lives.
For sure. And I think this is the thing for me, like I've had to learn most recently, like in our relationship, this has been something that has recently come up, and it's been a hard thing because like we talk a lot about like owning your power and like, you know, like someone else's choices can't affect you and all these things. But like, I mean, in our relationship, and like this is where I hate this question, because it's like I can self-reflect to a certain degree, but like there are things that like have happened in our relationship that have affected me because of like your choices, or like have brought emotions up because of your choices, right?
Yeah.
And then I get to look at it,
and vice versa.
Yeah. And it's a hard question, because like our response is always like, no one can make you feel anything. And like, I understand why that's the case, because like I could take what happens, right? And I could be like, oh, that actually has nothing to do with me. But instead, like I personalize it. And if you listen to last week's episode, as women personalize everything. It's just like a genetic thing that women do. And so knowing that, it would make sense why like those feel very personal. Sometimes the actions of somebody else feel very personal to the person.
Mm-hmm. They always feel personal to the person, right? Because like this is the person that you chose to be intimate with, and now they're hurting you.
Yeah.
Right. And so we get to look at that hurt, and I think that that's where like it's truthfully eye-opening and so frustrating at the same time, because it's, why did I get hurt by what you did? Like, why did it hurt me? And that helped me, like, even just that perception of you're doing something for you. Why is it hurting me? Right. And it gives you this opportunity to be like, I get the choice to see if I'm hurt or not, and to feel into the fact that like I might have some past traumas, some inner child work to do and to look at, to be able to address whatever hurt is coming up for me, because I don't want to feel this way as a person due to somebody else's actions.
Yeah. And I think that that's like the cool and empowering part of it, is like, I do believe that there's only so much like hell you can put yourself through with something like that.
Perfect.
Like, I do. And I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking from like my own, like our own relationship, truthfully, where for me, it was kind of like, you know, as things have happened and as things have come up in our relationship, at the beginning, it was like anger and like pissed off and like, why did you do this? And all these things. Right. And then it was like releasing judgment from it and meeting you in a spot where like I genuinely wanted to see where you were coming from. And like seeing the guilt and seeing the shame and like also releasing that on my end as well. But then also being able to look at myself and saying, like you were saying, like what past traumas do I have? Or like what's coming up for me personally in this? And like, why is that? And like for us, like a lot of our story pinpoints the pain point for me of like insecurity and like not feeling enough and not feeling good enough and like all of these things. And it's so interesting. Like, and even like when we've talked about it, I'm like, I don't know why certain things bug me more than other things. Do you know what I mean? And like, it logically, like in my head, it doesn't make any sense, but like, I know the feeling behind it. Right. But I think there comes a point of the self-reflection part of it where it's like, you can self-reflect. There's always something to be learned. Like even as much self-reflection as I have done and I continue to do, because I feel like I'm pretty good at it. And like, I think I'm really honestly only really as good about it is because like you call me out on it quite a bit.
Ooh, okay.
Which is nice. Do you know what I mean? Like,
good.
I actually appreciate it. Like, it's frustrating sometimes, but I appreciate the fact that, like, you hold me pretty accountable for...
Well, you do the same to me, too.
Yeah, so, so, like, it's nice. And because I think without it, I would not be, like, as self-aware, or, like, air quotes, or, like, I wouldn't self-reflect as much because it's not fun to do a lot of the times. Like, and it hurts, right? And a lot of times it doesn't make sense. Like, it takes me quite a long time to, like, piece things together if I have no idea why I'm feeling a specific way.
Yeah. That's honest. Yeah, for sure.
And so like in our relationship, the self-reflection side of it, there's only so much self-reflection I believe that you can do until you're like, the owning your power part no longer comes from the like decision to keep self-reflecting. It's the decision to be like you said, like, I no longer want to put myself in this situation where someone's hurting me.
Yeah, but I think I want to stay on like you're right. Because that's valid.
Because like a lot of times we sit here and I'm like not giving people an easy out, but it's like a lot of times we sit here and we're like, dude, and like we were on a podcast a couple weeks ago and it was actually really cool to talk to her and it will be on ours as well when she releases it. But we talked about divorce a lot in it and we talked about, you know, like all that. And I remember her being like, I needed someone just to tell me like, I didn't need it. I didn't need all these reasons why I needed to leave, or I didn't need all these reasons why. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes that feeling alone is okay. Like stop beating yourself up. If like you're feeling a specific way in your relationship and you've looked at everything, right? It's like, okay, cool. Well, what are you missing? Like, what is the missing part? And like, maybe it's just like, this is the end for you in this relationship, right? But the cool part and the owning your power part, in my opinion, of that is the choice.
Mm-hmm.
And the choice of like, what do I want to do? And I think it gets even deeper than just like, this person made me feel this way. It's like, what's your story? Like, what's your love story? And like, what do they bring? Like, what other things do they bring to the table as far as the relationship goes? And like, what does life look like without them? And all of those things. Like, it's not just an easy decision of like, no, I'm done. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. Yeah. You jumped automatically to like, okay, cool. We're down the road and I've looked at myself through all of this stuff and now I get to choose me, which is awesome, right?
Well, because I think we forget to do that.
But there's also the person that has never even considered the fact that somebody else has nothing to do with them, right? And that's kind of where maybe if that's you, I want to talk to you because I've had multiple conversations, even with really close friends. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to tell you some things and you're not going to like my perspective of them because no one's ever given you this perspective. And it was conversations when they were judging and they were so angry because of what somebody else had done. Right. And I loved this person so much that I did not want them to sit in judgment. I didn't want them to be angry because somebody else did something stupid, right? No one wants to be angry. No one wants to hate. No one wants to feel this way towards themselves or towards somebody else. We feel like and this is literally, it goes back to like the very beginning of this, like our head is just trying to keep us safe from whatever should be coming up for us. Right. And so it's like, hey, what do you judge yourself for? What is actually judging? What do you feel guilty for? What do you feel shameful for? Because this person is teaching you that you're still judging everyone, that you're still mad about something, right? And yeah, this situation that's coming up is giving you the opportunity to look at what you're still angry about within yourself. And they're just pulling it out of you. And so I don't want you to feel angry. That's not fun. I don't want you to sit here and judge them. That's not fun. Because you're just going to be like, because I've been in those modes. Like I've been in that space where you're just like hyperventilating almost. This is like anxiety attacks, panic attacks. They come in because you don't know what to do with this emotion or where it's coming from or where to put it. And you think that it's caused by somebody else, when in all reality, that person is just alarming something inside of you that's saying, hey, this needs to be addressed and fixed. Right. And that's where I want to sit, because you like in a relationship, this is going to happen every single day, almost every single day. And that's why I love relationships, because it's going to make you your best person if you choose that. Right? Like if you choose to look at everything, then you get to the point where you're just like, oh, well, yes, like I can leave and I'm okay leaving and I love myself for leaving, but I also love you for putting me through all that.
Yeah.
Because I know that I would be so much less of a person if you had not. And if you don't get the chance to look at you, then I'm okay to go.
Well, for sure.
Right? But like, I'm not even talking about a husband and wife. I'm literally talking about your relationship to everything right now. Like your coworker's pissing you off. Look at your fucking self.
I just connected dots for myself.
Go for it.
Like with everything that's been going on with us.
Mm-hmm.
Which is so funny. That's why I love doing this podcast with you. And I'm glad that we're like sitting here and doing this today, because for me, it was always like, I couldn't logically like figure out what I still needed to learn or like what was missing for me. And I figured it out.
Okay, go for it.
Because it's come up other than like our main big fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that like, I genuinely, and this is weird, maybe, I don't know. I'm not going to talk to you like if we weren't actually recording a podcast, because it's making me nervous to know that like we're recording this. I like have said it to you over and over and over again the last couple of days, which is so interesting that you're talking and I'm like, wait, I think this is the missing piece for me, which is like fun now that I'm like, wait, I think I might know. No, you don't get to know yet. No, I'm just kidding. It's like I genuinely want you, right? To like think about me more and like consider me.
Oh, yeah, you told me that.
I know that, but like I didn't like really realize that like it's like rounding itself out altogether. Like I want to be a conscious thought for you. And like and your actions and all these things, because I do that for everybody else. Except for me.
There we go.
So I literally, truthfully, need you to do it. I need you to show me how to do that for me. Just like I've done that for you. And we literally sat on the couch the other night and talked about it, and you said that to me. And I was kind of like, I think I'm grasping what he's understanding. And like, it's clicking now. So like, that's where I'm coming from, where I'm like, wait, where you were like, you've constantly you've shown me how to choose myself over and over and over again in our relationship. And it's like, I need you now to do that for me.
Yeah.
And I think for somebody that's like, I don't like asking for help because I'm so fearful that I'm going to get let down or that somebody's not going to show up or whatever. That's really scary for me to ask.
Good job. You did it.
I did it.
High five. We've done it. There we go.
But see, like, that's the cool part about relationships. And like, I kind of derailed that a little bit, but like, I needed to tell you that because for me, it like clicked. It was like, hold on. All this shit that's been going on the last week or 2 weeks or however long it's been.
Yeah.
And the hell and the mud and all of that. Like, this is what I needed to learn out of it. And it's taken me a minute. Maybe you've always known. I don't know. But like, I had to realize it. And that's the cool part about the conversations in the mirror is that your partners can tell you over and over and over again all of these things. But until you realize it for yourself, it's not going to click.
Yeah.
And there's no change that's going to be had, right?
That was beautiful. Good job, babe.
Thank you. That was,
because the thing is that like, even in like the fight that we had, I went back to shame and guilt and you went back to anger.
Yeah.
And we sat there and we ruminated for a little bit, and that's what people do. Like, it's really easy to go back to the things that are very normal to you.
Mm-hmm.
Until you sit there and you decide if you want to start looking deeper within what's going on for you, because this other person, however much you think is supposed to fix what they did, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Like, now you get to look at what's coming up for you. And so, like, you talk about self-awareness and self-reflection and all of this stuff, and it gets like chastised a lot, and people don't like to talk about it, and people don't like to look at it. And when you start telling people like the truth like this, they'll run, because people don't like to look at the stuff that's making them insecure, and they don't think that they need to be fixed.
Yeah.
And so if me telling you this is like triggering, then that's something, like, that is the exact thing that needs to be looked at for you, is why when I say, hey, you need to be fixed, or it's your fault, or it's your problem, like, you are the problem, why is that triggering to you?
Right? Well, it's funny because we always say people don't need to be fixed. They just need to be explored.
Well, they do need to be explored, right?
Yeah.
Because you are perfect the way you are, but you are a certain way. And
because
you
of
get
certain
to decide
things. Yeah.
if that way is perfect for you.
But that doesn't mean, and I think that's where my comment from earlier came from, is that it doesn't mean that it's also perfect for your partner. If you're not willing, like if you're not willing to explore
is that, like, we keep bringing in the partner, and that's not what it's about. Like, at some point you chose to love the person that you're with.
Mm-hmm.
That person will inevitably piss you off and do something that's going to make you mad, sad, angry, shameful, guilty, whatever it is. They're going to do that. We're not even talking about them right now. Like, we're talking about you, right? And like our story, you guys know our story. If you don't know our story, it's just like, okay, cool. I came out with a porn habit and you got triggered by it, right? Since then, we've been working through it. You know what I mean? Helping other people work through it as well. And I've had to look at why I was so insecure that I went to that. And you've given me that. And you've had to look at why you were so insecure that I went to it as well, mm-hmm. right? And so this is what the work is. Like, it's not about your partner. Your partner is just giving you some cool chances to see yourself. It's about seeing yourself.
I love that.
Yeah.
But I do think, like I just asked you, where it was like, can you please help me with this? And like, I'm scared, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like and it's scary to even like say that, because like we teach so much of like, well, you should be able to provide everything to yourself and all these things. And like, I think I could probably figure it out on my own, but like, it's kind of like you showing me sometimes makes it a little bit faster and easier for me to do, if that makes sense.
You said to me one time, you said, and it was interesting because I know that you hadn't felt this, even though I had given it to you, but you said to me one time and you said, when will you see me? Right?
I don't remember saying that, but yeah, I probably did.
And in my head, I'm like, I've literally always seen you. Like, you're the most perfect person in the world. Like, you're gorgeous and on and on and on. Right. And so the self-reflective part of that is like, when are you going to start seeing yourself?
True.
And that's exactly what you just barely came up with. Like, okay. I have to start looking at what I can do for me. Right. Anyway, I've been very long-winded, but all of this comes down to emotion. And it all comes down to the fact that, like, if they're going to make me feel something, then I get to look at what I want to be feeling. Right? Because sure, they can bring out that feeling in you. They can do something. Let's say they go and get themselves put in jail. That makes you really sad. Right? Then we get to start looking at us, because now they're in jail. Like, they can't even talk to you.
That was such a horrible analogy.
Well, I'm just saying, like, what if you just had to sit with your own feelings from somebody else's actions? What if they couldn't fix it? That's the state that we want to be in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it's hard. It's hard. Like, truthfully, like, I have a really hard time with this concept.
But that's where therapy comes in. That's where coaching comes in.
Because it's like,
that's where it's just like, how do I actually become okay with the fact that somebody else made me feel something?
Sure. Like, I don't hate you. Okay, let's take it personal. Can we take it personal?
Whatever you want to do.
Because I don't like the jail analogy.
Sure.
Like, I have struggled so much in our relationship with insecurity because you looked at porn or you looked at chicks on Instagram, right? those are my two things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we know it started before you,
Mm-hmm.
like that insecurity, right? But it flares up in those moments, right? And this is a really common thing in almost every single relationship that I've ever talked to. There's insecurity with past relationships or past women or past partners, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So yes, there is that moment where it's like, if you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have brought to the surface the insecurity, right? Well, now it's like, hold on. But if I've said this to you, right? And I'm just trying to walk people through because like for me, this is such a hard concept and I like want to help. If you thought all the things, if you really saw me, why would you do that? Right?
Right.
So like lend that piece of information to people because that side of it is very interesting, being on the air quotes hurt side of it. Does that make sense?
I can run with it. Sure. Yeah. You just want to know my side of it.
Well, I just want to know why. Like if you're in a relationship with somebody, we get this question a lot. If we're married and you're watching porn or you're outsourcing to whatever it is, right? If you really saw me and you really loved me and you really thought I was beautiful, right? Because I'm talking primarily to women right now who have dealt with insecurities of like what their partners have done, right? Mm-hmm. If you really loved me and you really thought I was beautiful and you really saw me and you really cared about me, why did you do it? Right?
Yeah, that's such like a vulnerable, like we had this conversation the other night. It's because I never was able to sit with myself and love myself enough to start choosing just me.
Okay, but explain that.
I'm going to.
Like dumb it down.
Okay, I'm going to.
Okay.
I went to my, me, and the majority of dudes that I know and that we've coached go to our vices when we don't feel good with ourselves, right? So that doesn't mean that the love that I feel towards you or that I chose in the person that I chose gets vacated at all from how I feel towards you or about you. But in my weakest moments, because that's when it is, because we talk about like, oh, well, weak men need sex, weak men need porn, weak men outsource. True, right? In my weakest moments, I don't choose me. So even me going to porn, right, isn't choosing me. That's literally like saying I'm vacating myself. Because if I were choosing me, I would choose the strong option, the one that was productive for my life, the one that was actually adding value to somebody else, right? But in looking at porn or in outsourcing, whatever it is, I'm staying the smallest version of myself, meaning is like, I'm trying to love myself because I never have. So what you've given me is the fact like, hey, you're somebody that continually is able to build yourself up and look in the mirror and like go get things done, right? Because I've had this, I've kept myself so small, right? And so I didn't do this because I don't love you. I did this because I don't like myself, right? And you showed me how to start loving myself and how to start vacating these habits, right? And stepping into what it is we call our power. And without you, I would have never even known what it looked like because it was so much easier just to go back to something else. And so there's a whole bunch of intricacies that go in between that, what I just said, and then where we're at now. Because it is a very difficult trajectory to go down because you have the choice to leave whenever you want to. And so do I, right? And you have the choice to look at why this makes you insecure. And then I have to do the work for myself as well. But hopefully that answered your question because you're giving me, right? Like, every opportunity to also look at myself through these things.
I love that.
So I think there's a lack of self-love. And I think even deeper than that, truthfully, if you want to give the women some type of understanding, and maybe if you're a man listening to this, some type of understanding too, there are wounds that are causing this. Like if we look at the age groups that like genuinely are heavy into pornography and all of the shit, like, anyway, it's like 25 to 40. And there are some wounds there from childhood that we are trying to cover up. And they come out so fucking strong in your intimate relationship with your wife. And so those are things that I've had to look at, and those are things that I like now help people through, and I love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I wasn't doing that because you were making me feel some way. Like, yes, like if I'm being 1000% honest, and you already know this, but like listeners, but like there were times when I would go to porn when I was pissed at you.
Yeah, we've talked about
I was just like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Whatever. But it wasn't because you were making me feel any certain way. Like when I chose that, it was just me choosing to stay small. It wasn't because I didn't love you. So,
I think to kind of round out this episode, I think something that's helped me and us in our relationship, and it's something that we just barely like, I feel like I've gotten good at.
Yeah.
So it's taken us a while. Is like having these kind of conversations, right? Because I feel like a lot of times, like in the past, we've had conversations very similar to this, right? Because relationships are like little roller coasters, right? We go up and down and side to side and all these things, right? I think if I could like add a tool to the tool belt, one of the things I would say is like when you have these conversations, I would encourage people, and like I know it's something that I want to be a lot more aware of in our relationship.
Yeah,
is asking and saying what you actually are wanting out of it, and even if it feels like even in ours, right? Like in our conversation, I was really scared to actually tell you what it was that I was wanting from you. But like once I actually told you, you were like, that's actually my exact same goal, which was interesting because we were not like, didn't talk about it before. It was something we had never talked about. Right. And I literally said to you, like, I feel so embarrassed even saying this to you because it seems really cheesy, but like, this is my overall goal. Yeah. And like, this is what I'm wanting from you so badly. And you were like, literally look at my notes in my phone. I wrote this down today, and it was the exact same thing. But the cool part about that, and sometimes like I'm not saying that like your wants are going to be on the same page always, because ours haven't always been. But I think there was a lot of freedom in me telling you exactly what I wanted from you, to be able to be like, Matt, like this is what I'm like want, exactly what I just did a couple minutes ago. Like this is what I'm needing, and like can you help me? Right? Like, you're my best friend. You're who I've chosen to do life with. You're my most intimate partner. Can you please help me? Like, I need help. Help me. Right? And saying like, this is what I'm really wanting from you. And you being able to say like, yeah. And like, you have shown up in the most beautiful way that like, I wasn't like, I need X, Y, and Z from you. Right? Like, I told you one simple thing of like, this is just like how I'm wanting to feel in our relationship. And from there, you took it to a completely different level. And I was like, I want to be mad at him still, but I actually can't, because like this is beautiful, and like this is everything that I'm wanting. Yeah. I mean, so good job there.
Well, that's the thing. It's that especially when somebody is like deep in feeling personal about all of their shit, right? It's like you have to get to a point in your life where you're just looking at what's helping me and what's hurting me, right? And if what you're wanting is sitting right across from you, then like, why not fight like hell for it? Right. So, yeah, we'll have to tell that story maybe in a different episode. Yeah. But I think like the biggest thing, and it was interesting, I had somebody ask me like, well, what do you want like out of our relationship?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I literally want our relationship. Like I told them like, what was it? There was a point in our relationship where nothing affected us. And like, we're still there for the majority of the time. Right. But like nothing affects us. Like you could piss me off and we could laugh about it 2 seconds later. And that's the type of relationship that I always want. Like the conscious relationship that we've built, because you can help me learn and I can help you learn, and it's not affecting us personally.
Yeah.
But we're both growing individually. And that's where I'm like, if we can start on this path of like self-reflection through everything that happens in our relationship and making it not about the other person and just about us, like, then we have somewhere to go. So we, yeah, guys, we do this podcast so people can resonate with what we're going through.
And like I just said, like, holy shit. Like, I'm grateful for it. Mm-hmm. So thank you for listening, because it gives us a platform and opportunity. Like, we talk like this all the time for the most part.
No, we do.
Unless we get in like a little slump of like, you know, everyday life, and we are like, holy shit, hold on. We need to talk. but it's cool. So like, thank you for listening and giving me the opportunity to like figure that out for myself and like connect those dots and have that conversation with you. But like, I really know that this will help somebody because it's what we hear all the time and we go through it. Mm-hmm. And we're still going through it. And it's been so long since all of our shit like surfaced.
But we also made a freebie too.
Oh, we did make a freebie.
And it, like, it's probably one of the coolest ones that we have made. It's about how to communicate better in your relationship and have the hard conversation.
Yeah, it's just a 5-minute guide. It's awesome. We'll link it down at the bottom so you guys can grab it. But yeah, it's a good little, I forgot we made that guide. It's a good little freebie.
No, honestly, I think it's our best one. And what it is it just gives you the platform to say, okay, how do I control myself to be able to get the information that I need from you?
Yep.
And then when I get that information, what do I do with it? Right. So, okay, guys, this has been a fun episode. If you have any questions for us, please reach out to us at grindtogetherco on Instagram and TikTok. Or you can email us, right? It's grindtogetherco@gmail.com. We are Matt and Lauren Greiner, and this is the Grind Together podcast.